This episode of Eat the Rules is brought to you by You on Fire. You on Fire is the online group coaching program that I run that gives you a step-by-step way of building up your self-worth beyond your appearance. With personalized coaching from me, incredible community support, and lifetime access to the program so that you can get free from body shame and live life on your own terms. Get details on what's included and sign up for the next cycle at summerinanen.com/you on fire. I'd love to have you in that group. This is Eat the Rules, a podcast about body image, self-worth, anti-dieting, and intersectional feminism. I am your host, Summer Inanen, a professionally trained coach specializing in body image, self-worth, and confidence, and the best-selling author of Body Image Remix. If you're ready to break free of societal standards and stop living behind the number on your scale, then you have come to the right place. Welcome to the show. This is episode 254, and it's the second part of this episode where I am speaking to another brilliant, incredible woman who worked with me in the You on Fire program. You can find the links mentioned in this episode at summerinanen.com/254. I want to give a shout out to Mem918 that left this review. Was told to tune into the Superwoman podcast and have already sent it to friends and listened to it. Love how informative it is and practical. I'm hooked. Thank you so much. I think that they are referring to episode 241, which was the one about Superwoman syndrome. So I'm super excited that that was recommended and that it resonated and that you sent it along. That always makes me really happy to hear. You can leave a review by going to Apple Podcasts, search for Eat the Rules, click on ratings and reviews, and click to leave a review. You can also subscribe to the show via whatever platform you use. Don't forget to grab the free 10-day body confidence makeover at summerinanen.com/freebies with 10 steps to take right now to feel better in your body. If you are a professional who works with people who may also have body image struggles, you can get on my professionals email list and grab the free body image coaching roadmap for professionals at summerinanen.com/roadmap. This is the second part of this episode where I am interviewing another member of You on Fire. And You on Fire is my online group coaching program that gives you a step-by-step way of building up self-worth beyond your jean size. You get a lot of personalized coaching from me, incredible community support, incredible content that you get lifetime access to. And it really gives you everything you need to feel more secure in yourself, feel more confident in yourself, and work through any kind of body shame that you have so that you can wear what you want, say what you want, live life on your own terms, and just be the badass that you are. You can get more information about that and get on the wait list at summerinanen.com/you on fire. I'd absolutely love to have you in the group. I'm so excited to share this other story with you today. Today, I am with Asya, and I will let her do the talking. Let's get started with the show. Hello, Asya. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell everyone a little bit about who you are before we get started.
Hello, my name is Asya. I don't know, I wouldn't say a typical person, but I probably had the typical body frustrations, and I still struggle with them, but not to the same extent as most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And did you want to say anything about like what you do or where you live or that you're a parent? Or like
sure. I'm in the, oh yeah, sure. No, I'm in the Chicago area in the suburbs, and I am a speech therapist. I say gone rogue because now I'm writing for other speech therapists to help get their names out there because I really love writing. So I like to say I'm a writer because it feels good. I'm a writer.
Yeah. Amazing. Great. And so, so tell everyone just a little bit more specifically about what your frustrations were with your body before we started working together.
My biggest thing was definitely comparing to other people. So like I talk a lot about the gym. That's where I love the gym, and it's a big outlet for me. But it also has some very negative aspects that a lot of people are really, really thin, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that I was comparing myself a lot to them, like how, like maybe I might go in and look great. And then I'm like, well, look at her. She has this body. And, I would always do that. And that was really my biggest thing. It was like I was going to my gym classes that I love, and all I could think about, even if I walked in feeling good, I would come out and be like, thinking and thinking and thinking like, oh, when I bend over, I have this, or she doesn't have that, etc. So that was my biggest frustration for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did you struggle with your relationship with food at all? Like, did those two things sort of intersect for you?
Yes and no. I was really familiar with intuitive eating already. And that's why I was listening to that podcast. I was really familiar with the Fuck It diet and intuitive eating. And I did sort of feel I teetered like, well, maybe if I ate like this person, I would look like that. And maybe if, I was on a diet or had the willpower then, but at the same time, I was that those beliefs were coming undone. Like I was already understanding that that's not true, that diets don't work. And so I had the basis of it, but it hadn't like planted itself yet.
Yeah, totally. And so did you have any like fears or hesitations around doing work around body acceptance? Like,
no, I was so ready. When I heard that, it was like speaking to me. It really was. And when I read about the program, the only hesitation was I'm so into coaching and I pay for coaching here and there. And I guess I kind of was like, okay, here's another thing I want to pay for, but I also felt so strongly about it.
Yeah.
So by the time I had the discovery call with you, honestly, I kind of was already like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing this because it spoke so much to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Was there anything that like kind of was like your breaking point where you're just like, I need to get support around this, or like this has to kind of change? Like, was there any moment or anything that sort of happened for you that made you do that?
I don't think it was a moment as opposed to maybe a series of moments. It was just like, here I am doing something I love, which is dancing and working out. And I am so cluttered by thoughts of comparing myself that it's just like, that's all I can think about. I can't even enjoy the dancing part anymore. And what is the point of that? And so I didn't really know there was an alternative.
Yeah.
At all, actually, until I heard about your program. I had no idea that there was even a concept of body neutrality or just like accepting. I don't know. I guess accepting was so far-fetched, or being body positive maybe was so far-fetched that I guess that's all I knew was I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. I did not know that body neutrality is possible or an option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. That makes so much sense. And so what were some of the things in the program, the elements of it, or like any of the things that you did in there that really helped you along the way?
I think for me, the biggest light bulb moment, which I still go back to because there's so much information. I absolutely need to go back and digest it all for sure. Like, I don't know how many times I'll need to do that program to get everything because it's a lot. But I think the biggest thing that I always go back to is like, wait a minute, my body and my value are totally separate. Mm-hmm. I have so many other things that give me value. And I always remind myself of that. Like, that is the thing that I always anchor to because it sounds so silly. I didn't know that. Like, how sad is that? How sad is that? I thought like, well, if I was skinnier, I'd be worth more and I would be loved more and people would respect me more. And like, that's just stupid. I don't know, it's bullshit. And I think like hearing that was really the way you said it in the program was just such a like, wow. So that's what I really anchor to, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's not your fault, right? Like, we're conditioned to think that our value is in how we look. So it's like, you don't know another way because you haven't been shown another way. And it's
right. Like, and it's like, wow, how did I not see that? But of course I didn't see it. It's always like all about your looks. And it's like, what if there's something else besides my looks? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a light bulb moment for me, even though I was like, how did I not realize that before?
Mm-hmm. Totally. And so what are some of the specific things you've noticed, like in terms of, how you feel in your body or how you feel about yourself since doing the program?
I would say I definitely have ups and downs. There are times when I'm like, oh my God, I am good. Like I'm set. I don't have these thoughts anymore, but that's not always the case. Sometimes the thoughts come in. Just now I have a rebuttal. I have something to say and I cannot believe them and be like, yeah, I was conditioned to think that way all of my life. It's not a surprise that I think that. It's just not true. And kind of like reminding myself that not all bodies are the same. And then I feel like I think about like, okay, so if everybody ate the same, and I think you must have said this in one of your things. I think that's where I got it. If everybody ate the same and if everybody moved exactly the same way, then we would all look different. And like, wait, I actually think that is one of the most powerful things too. I don't think I comprehended that. And it's funny because now I use that with people when they're like, oh, of course, so-and-so looks like that because they, go to the gym 5 times a day. And I'm like, really? Like, if you exercise exactly like that and eat exactly like that, would you look exactly like that? And they're like, no, of course not. I'm like, that's it. Mic drop, walk away. I think that's like one of the biggest points that I really come back to. I forgot what the question was. I went down that rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No, the question was just, what are some of the specific things that you've noticed? In yourself, and you were
that's right. Yes.
How you're able to respond to the negative thoughts
exactly.
now.
I'm so sorry. I get carried away. And what were you saying? Yeah.
No,
yes, that's right. The negative thoughts, I have something to say to them. I have the compassion to be like, oh, that's a big thing. Compassion. Yeah. Like to be like, yeah, you were conditioned that way. Of course you think that like that. Like, yeah, it's not your fault. I don't think I had that language ever before.
And most people don't, right? Like, because it's just, we're brainwashed to think that if we just do these things, then we will all look the same. And that there's something wrong with us. And it's
exactly. Yeah. And that's so hard to detach yourself from. But I think that's where the comparisons have eased up. Like I look at, this one person in particular I'm thinking of who has the waist the size of like my toddler. Okay. And like, it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter. I could be starving myself and I'm just not going to look like that. Why? Because we're different and that's it. And that is really, I think, powerful.
Yeah, totally. Were there any like highlight moments for you where you, throughout our time together, where like you noticed like something was different, or like you showed up in a different way?
I think a lot of the coaching calls you walk away. I really like the question you ask. You always say, what did you get from this conversation today? Because sometimes it's like you listen, you're like, okay. And like, okay, I guess I'll go now because I don't want to take up more of your time. And you're like, no, but what did you get from this conversation? I'm like, damn, that's holding me accountable. But that's good. I feel like there were a lot. I can't say there was like a specific thing. I think it builds.
Yeah.
I think there are those like moments that I just explained that I hold on to, and then it builds. It's like there are some aha moments, but they're not the aha moments. It's like that plus this moment, plus this moment, plus this moment. And all of a sudden you're like, I feel different. I'm not preoccupied by these thoughts. What's going on? I think that's kind of what happened for me. And then there was one conversation I was like, Summer, I totally feel different about this. And I don't know how that happened. And like, that's a big thing. And I could not tell you how that happened.
Yeah. And that's how it does happen. I always like
that's amazing
about that. It's like, it's kind of like with a kid, right? Like you probably have this with one of your kids, is that they maybe do something kind of relentlessly for a while and then they stop, but you don't notice it until maybe like 2 months later. And you're like, oh, like they don't do that anymore. Or like that phase is over.
Oh, for
and
sure.
It's kind of the same thing with this work. I find it's like, you don't necessarily notice it. It just sort of kind of happens in the background until maybe like a few months later when you look back and you reflect and you're like, oh, like I experience that really differently now, like I don't do that thing I used to do all the time.
I think that's a really good explanation, because if I think about it, it's like, am I perfect? Am I like never, ever having these thoughts? No, the difference is I don't go down the same black hole that I used to. How like, that's huge. That's huge. To not go down that like rabbit hole is, I think, really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good to hear. So how does it feel to be in this place now and, have some of this baggage off your shoulders?
I mean, it frees up so much mental space. It's amazing because I actually enjoy going to the gym classes. And like, of course, I'll have a thought, but then I'm able to be like, you know what? And I'm hot as fuck. Okay. That's what I am. And I actually, another thing I think that was really, really super helpful, and this all came from you, was to look at those accounts on Instagram of like women who are athletes who just let it all hang out. And they're like, yeah. And I like, sometimes I'll see myself in the mirror and I'm like, like I don't have what I want. And then it's like, so what? I get to own what I have. So I think that mental space has really cleared out. I'm able to really enjoy the movements so much more. And honestly, I think I've gotten a lot fitter. I think like I'm just more in the workout and I really feel it as like a place to release aggression versus like this critiquing, like, come on, enjoy it. No, but I'm fat. But I mean that in like obviously I know fat is used now as like a neutral term, but that's not how I was using it at all. Right. So I was like, no, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. I'm not like this. I'm not like that. And it's just like that constant dialogue is gone. And I can actually enjoy what I'm there for. Cause that's where the pain point really was at the gym, I would say. Cause that's where I see people and that's where I compare myself. And I also found out a lot of them have plastic surgery. And like, that's what I was comparing myself to. Yeah.
Which is like, not real, right?
Right. It's not helpful. Like if somebody had liposuction, I'm like, why does she have a small waist or whatever? Because she got enhanced. That's why. Because she paid $10,000 to look like that. And like, I now put it in perspective that I didn't before.
Yeah. So good. So how does that feel? Like if you were to sort of describe
freeing,
it?
freeing.
Yeah.
Freeing. I can really enjoy the movement. I can really enjoy the reason I'm there. I think I always, in theory, went to the gym as my own like place to relax, but I wasn't relaxed because I was thinking about this stuff all the time. Now I actually go there and it's like, I get it all out and then I come home and I can be with my kids in a better way. So probably it's improved. I didn't really realize this until I'm saying this now. I'm willing to bet it has improved my relationship with my kids because I now am more grounded in myself because it's more, my self-care routine is actually a self-care routine. And no longer me going there pretending for it to be like self-care, but actually just being in my head the whole time.
Yeah.
And I don't think I realized that until right now. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's a big impact, right? Because it's a residual impact to your whole life. So that's so good. Yeah.
And I really love the gym now, like a lot. I love it. And I loved it. I thought I loved it before, but it was like a hit or miss. Like some classes were so like, I was in it and I really enjoyed them. But most of the time I wasn't. I was thinking about other people's bodies and how they compared to me and what other people thought of me in comparison to their bodies. Like that's a lot.
Yeah. It's like a whole feedback loop, right?
It really is. It really is.
Because you're like beating yourself up and then you're thinking other people are judging you. So you're beating yourself up more. And it's like, yeah.
And I'm not going to say it's gone. Again, like that's not what it is. It's not totally gone. It's just that now I know how to respond to myself.
Yeah. And I feel like over additional time, it will continue to improve. And obviously there's always ups and downs, but I think that it's like once those seeds are planted, then it becomes so much easier.
I'm pretty sure that's true because I'm essentially awakened to this new reality, this new possibility that again, I didn't know existed. I did not know it existed, that I could ever not think like that. And so I'm going to redo the program for sure. I mean, I there's no question about that. I'm going to listen to everything. Everything has so much good advice. And I feel like just like intuitive eating, I reread the book. Now it's been the third time. And every time I'm like, oh my God, how did I not get that before? So I feel like that's what's going to happen with this program too.
Yeah. People always say that, like, cause I think that and so much of it's like beyond your body too, which is why it's like one of those things you can keep coming back to.
Yes.
Amazing. So what's one piece of advice you have for other people listening today?
I would say sign up. Don't hesitate. No, for real. Like I really recommend this it is so relevant. There is not one person that this is not relevant to. There is not I shouldn't say not one person. I'm sure there is one person that this is not relevant to. And the rest of the like 8 billion people, it's probably relevant to. Like, we are so conditioned. It's so deep inside of you, you don't even know. I did not realize how much I attached my value to my looks. Like, I had no idea. It's not like I'm like super like vain with all this makeup. Not even that. It's just like, it was so subtle, and yet it's so pervasive. It's everywhere. And I think your program helps people rethink other things too, like aging. Like, I'm not going to stay 20 years old forever. Nobody is. It's impossible. And like to move beyond that, like, what if I can be both older, bigger, and sexy, and sassy, and successful? And I don't have to be some thin 25-year-old or 20-year-old or whatever. Like, that's stupid. I mean, my piece of advice would be join the program. Do not hesitate. And then join the calls. And even if you can't do the program, because it's a lot of information, even if you stop, even if you're not listening, go to the coaching calls. They are so valuable. In my opinion, I think like I really looked forward to every coaching call that I've joined. And it's just like amazing. It's amazing to hear other people's sort of thoughts, because you're like, wow, I'm not the only one. It's amazing to hear the advice that Summer gives. And I always try to like categorize it. Like, okay, if ever somebody told me that, like, here's the coaching wisdom that I can like absorb. I don't think I'll ever be able to absorb it all because it's amazing. But yeah, like, you have so many answers to so many queries that it's just amazing to me. And it's like, I really got so much out of each call, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice to hear. Well,
It's
I always
true.
loved our conversations, and you were always so supportive of everyone else as well.
Thank you. It's easy though. It's so easy to be supportive. The Facebook group is supportive, and the community, like, at first I thought it would be so weird. Like, I would be talking to you about my coaching stuff and other people are listening in the background, and it's like kind of awkward, you would think. But I don't think so, because people put in like the messages. They're like, good job. That's great. They also have those thoughts. It's almost like, I don't know. I think it's a super supportive community, and I plan on using the Facebook group for as long as I can, if that's okay.
Yeah, as you should. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. That means a lot to me. And it's been such a pleasure to catch up with you here today and just hear about like how far you've come. And I'm just so proud of you. I hope you're proud of yourself. And I think that I am. It's going to be such an amazing role model to so many other people. And I
wouldn't go that far yet. I don't feel like a role model. I would definitely, I mean, I need to do the program again for sure.
But you're an advocate. Like, that's what I mean. Yeah. I know you're vocal about it. So
the seeds have been planted for a new life is what I would say. Yeah. And like, everybody needs to know about it.
Beautiful. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it was so cool to work with Asya over the months. She was just always like so galvanized by this work and has really become like a huge advocate for it. And I just absolutely love when that happens, because that's the ripple effect. When we do this work on ourselves, then we are able to then have this different kind of mark on the world, because we start to influence other people, or we become activists in the work, or we start talking about it, and that's how we influence more people. And it's amazing to see that happen, because I believe that is how we can, start to chip away and change the culture. There's really no going back, with any of these changes. Like, once you start this, then you're on this trajectory, and it only keeps building from there. And when we open our eyes to the ways in which we've been influenced by society's standards and decide, I'm not going to take this anymore, I don't want to be at war with my body anymore, it can just result in such incredible things. And I show up to do this work every day because I know that you are all inherently worthy, and it's possible to believe that for yourself. I know how much time and energy and money you can reclaim when you're not letting your body dictate how you feel about yourself, and when you're not letting your body hold you back. So I want you to just imagine, what life could be like for you in 3 months or 6 months if you took that leap. If you're kind of feeling like you're stuck trying to do this work on your own, but it's not really clicking, like maybe you intellectually get it, but nothing's really changing, then if you can, come and work with me. You're absolutely who You on Fire is for, and I can 100% help you. And let's get on this path where you can really believe and know that you are good enough. And I hope you enjoyed these stories that I've shared with you today. They're just some examples of how it is possible to let go of letting your body rule your emotions, and how you can really live your life unapologetically, and how much can change in such a short period of time. You know, we spent decades kind of in this body hate, this place of body shame and hatred. And within a few months, like, we can really start to see a shift. And it's not perfect. And I never guarantee perfect. And that's not the goal at all, because you're human, you're going to have negative thoughts. But to be able to be more resilient to them, to be able to respond to them, like, that's incredible. I've done a ton of these episodes. If you like them, if you want to hear more, they are episodes 134, 164, 176, 212, episode 246 as well. And a lot of them are video interviews that you can watch on YouTube as well. If you Google Summer Innanen YouTube, I have a YouTube channel, and there's a playlist with the video versions of these interviews as well. Some of them, not everyone wants to do video, but there are quite a few video versions as well if you ever want to watch those. So you can find the links and resources mentioned in this episode at summerinnanen.com/254. You can get information about You on Fire at summerinnanen.com/You on Fire. Thank you so much for listening today. I really appreciate you being here. Rock on. I'm Summer Innanen, and I want to thank you for listening today. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Summer Innanen. And if you haven't yet, go to Apple Podcasts, search Eat the Rules, and subscribe, rate, and review this show. I would be so grateful. Until next time, rock on.